Hey, what's up, everybody? It is the Ace Michaels Show, and I'm Ace Michaels with you. Happy to be with you. I'm happy to be alive. You ever be happy to be alive, and then you find out that all these companies have your information and they can send you junk whenever they want, and then you wonder, do I really want to be alive? Just think about this. Like in our world, there's one company that has all of your information. Let that sink in. And that company is probably who you're listening to our show on right now. You know, Meta / Facebook owns WhatsApp. They own Instagram, and I think they own Twitch as well, or one of those other ones. And if you let that sink in for a minute, you think all of the social media is going through one individual's fingers, like he's a James Bond villain or something. He's got his fingers on all of our information. Anything he wants to sell, he can sell. He can barter. He can give your birth dates away, your mama's birth date. You know what I'm saying? It's something really weird if you think about it, that we've gotten to this place in our society where so much control is given to one particular company. So if you've got a thought on it, I'd love to hear it. I like controversial things on the show, and I love conspiracy theories. If you want to be on the show, you're welcome to come on and talk about this or anything else. And if you just want to shoot us a message, a DM or an email, and tell us your thoughts on, I'm going to call it Zuckerberg Rules the World. That's what we're going to call that. Today on my show, dun, 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 we have two fabulous people. One has been here before. Kimberly Alexander is back with us. And Sergio is here today. First timer. Sergio is a fashion designer in Las Vegas, in Sin City. He's a Sin City fashion designer. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Oh, well, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. I want to talk a little bit about how you guys met. I'm sure that some of the stuff you're going to talk about today is going to be a little controversial, and probably even how you met is controversial. I don't know for a fact, but I think you're probably going to enlighten us a little bit. So tell us a little bit how the two of you met each other. And first off, we want to say that you guys are, as Kimberly put it, you guys have been friends for years. You're like best friends. The two of you are you're each other's best friend, right?
Yeah, for 2 decades or more?
2 decades. We're inseparable.
Wow. Inseparable best friends. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so best friends, tell me how you two met each other.
How did we meet, Sergio?
Well, I was working at Chanel, actually, at the Bellagio. This is about 2001, actually. And she came in, and I became her stylist. And
Wow.
Yes. I took him away from Chanel.
Wow. So what were you doing at Chanel? You're working as a stylist?
I was in charge of the ready-to-wear. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
As opposed, why do they say ready to wear? I'm sorry. Listen, Sergio, you just met me. You got to understand, like, I'm a stupid individual. Like, what is ready to wear versus what, not ready to wear? You got to be ready to wear it, right?
Well, it's the translation into English. In French, it's prêt-à-porter.
Oh, that's
so
what
it means
that prêt-à-porter means.
It's the off the hanger version of their couture line, which
ready
is
to wear,
custom made, and it's
That's
only
kinda
available
slick, actually.
in Paris. It's only available in Paris.
I got a bunch of food in our kitchen that's ready to eat. You know what I'm saying? I love it. Cars got gas, ready to drive. I love it. I'm going to use that for everything. Prêt-à-porter is how you say it? Did I say it right? No way.
Yeah.
I just copied you. I couldn't say it. After you leave, I won't be able to say it. I'll be like, yeah, he said prêt-à-porter. Anyway. Okay, so that's how you guys met. So she hired you to be her stylist, or you just did it out of the love of your heart?
Oh, I was hired to be her stylist.
Yes.
He said, I don't do nothing
I
out of
didn't
love.
hire
You
him.
better pay me.
It was
better
my
pay me, pimpin'.
It was like I couldn't afford him. It was my boyfriend who paid for him.
Okay, so you were brought on, and then how did you guys become friends from a business relationship? Because that's definitely a business relationship. You were hired. You weren't like, hey, bro, come on, let's do this, right?
Yes, but in the process, of just doing my day-to-day, duties as a fashion stylist, sometimes being exposed to the clients, it's more than just sometimes acquiring these pieces of ready-to-wear and rare pieces by various designers. there's a lot of drama involved. You almost have to play almost psychologist.
I was going to say
In
that
the
I thought
process.
that there would be a lot of drama involved, but then I also thought it's kind of a dream job, though. Like if you love to do that styling, to be an actual stylist and get paid, that's like what you want to do, right? There's nothing better than that.
Well, the industry has changed. People are cutting corners, and the labels are dealing directly with the high end or high profile clients now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they've taken the initiative to control the narrative now. So that kind of squeezes out stylists.
Now, there's some individuals, I'm not going to say any names. I'm not even going to rhyme them like I normally would say, something like rhymes with Al Rock, Ol Rama, but I won't do that this time. But there's a few individuals here that are in the fashion industry in Las Vegas, and I've been to their fashion shows.
Mhm.
And to me, I don't get it because it's not New York, it's not LA. How can you have fashion in Vegas? Like, is Vegas, am I not knowing, is Vegas a real fashion bred community? Like, is there a lot of promising opportunities for fashion models and stylists and designers in Las Vegas?
Well, if you're using the industry standard as the litmus test, then no. But that particular industry can't determine where fashion can and cannot take place. I mean, if you have creative people in any part of the country or any part of the world, populated or, unknown, just because somebody is doing their own thing, it can't be dismissed.
Right on. I understand that. Now, I got a curious question because when you came in the studio today, you look like a fashion designer. Like you're wearing, okay, so this is what he's got on. He's got on some jeans, right? Which anybody can wear some jeans. But he's got some jeans with like some patches on the knees, which is right off the bat, like, where'd you get those jeans, bro? You look mighty good in them jeans. No, where'd you get them jeans? You know what I'm saying? And then we didn't forget about you, Kim. We're going to get to you. But
everybody's always hitting on Sergio.
But then he's got well, no, it ain't that serious.
No, it's not.
But then he's got these shoes, and the shoes kind of had, like, what would you describe that print? It's like a funky ass print or something. Yeah, so he's got these shoes with this print, and he's wearing a T-shirt. Now some folks might say, well, that's just dressing like a bum. Well, I'm dressed like a bum. Like, I got on jeans, and my jeans aren't cool like his, and I'm just wearing a regular shirt like I wear in the studio, and he's got a regular shirt, but his looks cool on him. And that's what I'm saying. He looks like a fashion plate, and I just look like a bum.
It's Snow White.
It's Snow White doing cocaine, right?
Yes.
Which makes sense to me. I totally
it looks
get
like
that.
a
I
line
endorse
of
that.
coke
Sure.
on
why
the
not?
mirror.
And the way Disney's going, that's probably going to be the next iteration of Snow White, as far as we know. Now, Kim, on the other hand, she looks like a boss businesswoman. She's got on her, like, suede-y kind of shoes. And she's also got on jeans, but her jeans are, like, form-fitting jeans. And then this kind of animal print thing. So I would think, when I look at Kim, I would see, like, a realtor lady or a business, or like a CEO lady. But Sergio and I, we straight look like we're in some kind of band that's not signed. So I don't know how that worked out. But okay, so enough about that. Back to the story of you guys met each other. And then you have this controversial thing about these beautiful shoes, which I'm going to put the pictures up of the shoes several times in the interview so those listening can also see the visual. These are really, really cool shoes that have glass in the heel.
They're mirrors.
Yeah, mirrors. They're mirrors.
But they're shattered.
Right.
So this is not something that comes this way from a manufacturing perspective. It's something that we take a panel of glass, a pane of like mirror, and we shatter it.
Wow.
So we want that shattered. We want that energy, that motion to be captured. And
he talks like a fashion guy. Mm-hmm. Gosh, wow. Okay, so tell me the story about why the mirror shattered and how this falls into your controversial story that you were telling me about off air.
Wow. Oh, wow.
He said, wow.
I've never been asked this question before. It's,
really?
No, it's like doing a dissertation the facets of and the sum of the parts. So the shattered mirror represents separation. The mirror at one point was a whole, and after being shattered, it represents the various pieces of ourselves, the constant separation that's a constant element in our lives. From birth, we're separated from our mothers. I mean, we were in the womb, and then at some point we come out, and now we're two different individuals, two different entities separated, and at some point you move out of the house. People couple up and people break up. You have people you encounter that are in your life for a season and then they're gone. So there's this reoccurring motif of separation. So that's a constant element in our lives, I think, a common denominator that we all share. So the pieces on the bottom of the shoe represent that, the journey through life, the constant separation.
That's really fascinating. Now, you're a, when's your sign? What's your?
Gemini.
Okay, so you're a Gemini, so you're an air sign, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And so you just described that in a very airy way. Now, Kim, you're a fire sign. So I want to know Kim's perspective of this story from her 2 cents. So what happened, Kim?
Of the shoes?
Or how the shoes tie into the controversial story that you guys were telling me about.
Well, I think he understood. We've been knowing each other for so long, and he's been through it, right? How we became friends, we'll never know, because it was kind of rocky at the beginning.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Mm-hmm.
He's hiding. He's like, shut up.
So it was rocky. You guys didn't get along very well. Or there were some external.
There was some external people too that was putting,
I think anytime you involve the element of
together,
money.
Thanks. We're gonna live together and be old and grow up together with the husband.
With the husband. No, it involved a lot. It involved this one figure who, at the time, represented himself as, or perpetrated to be, a legitimate businessman. Okay. And in fact, he was running a Ponzi scheme, no different than Bernie Madoff, just on a smaller scale. But nonetheless, you had, the element of money, and anytime you involve money on some grand scale, then all these characters come out of the periphery and they want to join the feeding frenzy. And of course, they saw Kim as reaping the majority of the benefits because she was getting all the cash and prizes. She gets a stylist assigned to her. She gets to go on shopping sprees. And, so that causes a lot of perhaps envy, a lot of coveting, a lot of resentment by people on the periphery that, at one point also perpetrated to be friends of hers and represent her best interests, when in fact that was not the case.
They weren't interested at all in her best interest. And so there was... again, I don't want to tell the story because I know parts of the story, but I don't want to throw out there. So this individual...
there was a time that him and I, like Sergio and I, had separated. Not separated, but there was a lot of jealousies, and he ended up with this man, and...
He ended up romantically.
With the man.
Because that was man. I'll be honest. That's all my listeners care
with
about.
With the husband?
Not with the husband.
No, my listeners have been waiting for us to get to that for a long time. Like, okay. And. So Sergio, you slept with the guy. No. I'm just going to be transparent. Sergio, you slept with the guy.
And he...
Well, something happened.
So we all just got drunk.
No.
Somebody was fooling
So
around.
what's interesting is that he was a straight man. So
right.
And we had no reason to believe otherwise. I mean, he was married at the time and had kids.
You turned him?
No. No, there must have been an element there because I was actually the stylist, and he actually convinced me to invest in his Ponzi scheme. Like, I had no idea. So at some point, he was using that against me. Like, well, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, your money's gonna disappear.
Literally, sexual favors was X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, literally.
I mean,
he was just like
putting
that.
it like sexual favor. It was
like what kind of?
It wasn't blackmail, because blackmail is when somebody has something on you that you don't want the public to know. So in this case, it would be analogous to, oh, I invested with you. Please don't share that with anybody. I'll do anything to keep it under wraps.
Right.
Like,
Really?
what's the big deal? I invested, so tell the whole world. Why is it a secret, right? So the blackmail doesn't apply here. It's more like threats. That's what you call a threat. Like,
Yes.
oh, you don't want to do this? Well, this is going to happen. That falls under the classification of a threat.
And this is a true, real thing.
Yes.
That this guy was holding over your head.
Yes. Because I had nothing in writing. And it was just like on a handshake. And, at the time I was just like 24, 25. I mean, I was very naive. I mean.
And so, I was going to say, and then add the injury to the insult that you were really being manipulated at a young age for anybody. I mean, in your 20s, you don't know anything.
You don't.
For you guys listening that are in your 20s, you don't know anything. Okay,
No.
so let's get that squared away. You really don't learn anything in life in your 20s except what you shouldn't have done in your 20s. So, okay, so Kim, where do you play a part in all this? Because I know you was mixed up in it.
I was too. It was the same thing.
You
It got really ugly at the end, But for Sergio and I, for our story, like, people played us apart. They did not want us to ever, ever, ever talk or be friends, or they did everything in their power to make sure I hated him and he hated me. And so I always think it's funny because we're the last two standing. We say. Honestly, literally, some people passed away. Yeah,
wow.
Some people died.
One of them was a casino host, I believe. What was his name?
Howard.
At the Mandalay Bay. Yeah, he was a casino host by the name of Howard. And he got deep into drugs.
Yeah.
This is all due to this situation of this individual?
I mean, he took a lot of money, a lot of time from us, and
Wow.
So,
And Kim, you gave up the booty too?
of course.
Wow.
Kim
was
is
some
it
booty
safe to
given up
say
in
you were
Las Vegas, guys.
romantic? Technically, Kim was romantic.
I was romantic. I loved him. Yeah, there was a time that I just adored the man.
Like,
but
you guys might have walked the aisle, love, or just
yes,
like love,
and
like,
then,
oh, I love you, I love you too,
there was,
Mia.
and I was young. I mean, I was a little older than you, but not much. So I was young, and when we would walk around, finally we came together. He would always want me and Sergio Kim, everywhere we went.
Really?
So everybody would call us the mistress and the mistress.
Say it one more time, Kim. I like the way you say it. Say it one more time.
The mistress and the mistress.
I love it. Look at you crazy kids. While the rest of us are just living a life, you guys are doing damn, wow. These are like Netflix worthy adventures you guys are having right here. This is a series right here. This is a whole season. Wow. So, okay, so Kim was dating, we'll call him, we need a name, we'll call him Joe.
There you go.
Right? So Kim was dating Joe. And Joe propositioned Sergio and made forceful, like, accusations, threats that if you didn't do this stuff, then this was going to happen. And did you actually have sex, or was it just like stuff around sex? Like, you went to first base, second base, or did you actually you gave up the booty too?
Well, no.
Did you take the booty, or you give up the booty? Was there any booty involved?
So technically, it would be like I was
the court.
This is another shocker to some of your viewers, but to some of them out there who have been out in the outer limits, would not be surprised to hear this. So I was asked to be like the top in that scenario, and he was the bottom.
Okay. So I'm not too, I'm stupid, but I'm not too stupid to put those pieces together. So I get what you're saying.
So yeah.
So he had a was he gay guy?
We don't know.
Or he was curious.
We don't know.
Was he bi-curious?
We don't know.
Wow. Well, it seems like you would know by now.
Well, one thing is, well,
you definitely got some proof.
Well, nowadays you have so many classifications. You know,
That's
people I don't even know the terminology. Is it the lingo has changed so much? Is it sexual fluid, sexually fluid?
Oh my gosh.
Pansexual.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many. I can't even keep track of it. But one thing, by observation, he was not exclusively like a gay man because he was romantically involved with Kim and having sex with Kim.
And did you say he was married too, right?
And married and yeah.
Kim, you were dating this guy who you knew was married?
Yeah.
Shame on you. But that's kind of hot. But anyway, no. Okay, so you guys.
Well, he was gonna leave her, right? Eventually.
Eventually.
And he did when he went to prison, but.
So, was there any thought in your mind that you were singled out individually, or was he just playing this whole field? Like sometimes, like the cult leader will do this. Like the cult leader will have several different people.
Concubines.
Concubines,
yes.
exactly. That the cult leader says it's okay. As a matter of fact, God wants him to impregnate these people because that's what God's mission is for him.
Right.
But then other people go, hey, wait a minute. You doing different folks but the same strokes. What's going on with you, brother? You know what I'm saying? So did you guys feel like he was unique to you, or did you feel like he was playing the whole field and you were just taking what you're given because you're working for a living?
What do you think?
I know. I think he was crazy with me. You know what I mean? Like he wouldn't never let me out of his sight ever.
Really?
Never, ever. But then if I wasn't out, then he would cheat on me all the time. So I don't know. He might have been.
This is like on some feminine mentality that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So he was with you all the time, or he wanted you with him all the time. But then if you weren't available to be with him, then he would just sleep with somebody else?
At the end, yeah.
Yeah, other women, yeah.
He must have been a handsome guy.
He even had other men at one point.
Yeah, I never got to see that.
How much freaking partying can you do in your life? Like I mean, seriously, man. How much is too much?
I don't know
Holy shit,
I don't know how we lived sometimes, but
wow.
Mm-hmm. But we're raised that way. We party like it's an Olympic sport. Sergio says we can stay
you
out.
And Sergio do that?
Yeah, we can stay out all night long and then get up
and so
and
okay.
Work.
So before we run out of time on this show, because now my ears are on fire, but. Somehow the shoes figured into this. What did the shoes play into? Was this individual involved in the making of the shoes, or
no? Did
the shoes reflect the memory of him? Like, how does he figure into the shoe story?
Well, at some point, he created such turmoil in our lives, respectively, that we had to pick up the pieces and move on.
Right.
And Kim moved on. After he went to jail.
Whoa! Wait a minute. He went to jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did he go for? He went to jail for the sexual stuff or the
fraud.
the Ponzi scheme?
For fraud.
Oh wow! Yes. So how much money did he bilk from people? Like millions?
50 million, 66
oh yeah,
million.
he's in prison.
He's in prison.
Jail. He's in prison.
Well, he may be out now. I don't know.
It was high profile. I mean, I remember I received a call from. He was a sociopath. Clearly, I mean, if someone has...
Now watch it now. I may be a sociopath.
We hope not.
Sure. Sometimes I read breakdowns of narcissists, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. All that makes sense to me. I'm down with all that.
Oh, he would never, ever say he was wrong, ever. To the very bitter end. And even when the LA Times wrote about this, Sergio and Kim are the ones they were writing about.
Now, why would you... Why? Because what you guys were involved with him was a secret, right? Or were you part of his organization?
No. I was a stylist. I was hired as a stylist, and then the stylist invests. So why would I invest in a Ponzi scheme if I know it's a Ponzi scheme?
But you were in the paper, and so was Kim. You were in the paper also.
There was mention of me in there.
Why'd they mention you, Kim?
Because I was always there. Because I got all the benefits,
you were
right?
Like the visual girlfriend, like the fiance that we go, oh, she's gonna, like Epstein and his gal. So we
oh my gosh! Like his wife never had a problem with me the whole time until then.
But did his wife know you guys were sleeping together? How does that work? How do people have spouses that they know is sleeping with other spouses? That blows my mind every time I hear that.
They just look the other way. Maybe it's just maybe maybe it's an agreement. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
How to answer that.
And Kim, how did you feel about being the other woman, quote unquote? Or was she the other woman as far as you were
To me, she
Who
was the other woman because he spent most of his time with me.
Wow.
Who was the figure skater he drugged?
Oh my God, Aksama.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Well, allegedly, he drugged a figure skater, a retired Olympic figure skater, and how I knew this, how it came to my attention is, one day I was driving here in Las Vegas, obviously close to 20 years ago, and I received a phone call from Gloria Allred. You know?
Oh my God!
Yes,
this is that big?
Oh yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we both did, and then he had drugged me before with the same drug. Back when you wheeled me out, took me to the hospital that time, it was exactly the same. And he's like, don't say anything, don't answer her calls.
This
so
is
we
like
knew
a
he
bad
did it.
B movie because Kim, you were here like a week ago, and all this stuff happened. You didn't mention any part of this. Like this is like in a movie when they go, "Oh yeah, well back when I was a child, I wanted to tell you that Thanos enlisted me to do," and you're like, "Wait, well, why are we just now finding out?" But you've been an X-Man for all this time. You've been on the Avengers all this time. How come you're just not telling us? So this was a major. I would say this is a life-changing situation.
Oh, it was, yeah.
This was
and
life-altering.
Honestly, as crazy as it is, I probably would not have survived it without Sergio in my life. I mean, we really held on to each other pretty strong.
To take her to the hospital. She was drugged. She blacked out.
And this was, he was trying to drive a wedge between the two of you. So was it?
Everybody was.
Well, you think there was intention for you two not to be able to tell each other the stories and be enlightened together? Like they didn't want you to know?
I'm not sure what this whole divide and conquer, what the end game was.
I think it's power. You know, it's a power trip. If you keep you two apart. Wow, this is very unique.
Not compare stories. Maybe prevent us from comparing notes.
How long was this all going on? Would you say it was a year, 6 months? It was 3 years?
It was about 5 years.
5 years.
5 years?
Yes.
Kim, you were sleeping with this woman's husband for 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Kim, you must be good.
Well,
and Sergio, how long were you rocking the boat?
Well, not by choice. I would say.
This is not by choice. My
Probably
penis
3
just
years.
fell in there.
3
I don't know what
years.
happened. I came in.
I mean,
next thing I know, my penis was
bizarre.
out.
It got really bizarre. Like it was.
And for me to share this story the way it really happened, this is why I never said anything at the time, because the immediate thought that runs through people's minds is, how does someone get raped? And you still hear that to this day. Like, how does someone get raped? I mean, so technically, if I were a female and it wasn't by choice and someone was doing that, would then it be considered rape and then like part of this Me Too movement? So
right.
But you have to imagine this was like 20 years ago, just about.
And it was a different world.
It was a different
for sure.
Oh yeah,
world.
you just keep your mouth shut.
So if I would have come out and said something, people would have laughed at me like, so what's your problem? Why are you complaining?
Yeah,
you get to
be
party.
lucky.
You get all the goodies.
You
You get a car. Yeah, you get all the perks.
Now, Kimberly, did you know at any time before Sergio told you that he had been involved physically with this person that you were dating?
She was in the room.
I was in the room.
Oh, snap! Whoa, guys, this just turned into a series. Wow. Okay.
We literally laugh because, he's always like, I could just stay in the room with you.
So did you guys have a threesome? Did you? Y'all not sure? It was something.
The fly on the wall would look at it.
The fly on the wall.
The fly on the wall, right? Yes.
And I
The
was
fly
like,
on the wall would look at it like a lot of things. Good thing the fly on the wall didn't have a video camera.
Right. Thank God.
But every second I was like, how the hell did I get myself into this situation?
Well, on that note, we're at 29 minutes, so I've got to close the show. But I think I want to make the point that nothing would build a better friendship. Thank God, you guys. Be thankful for what happened, because look at your friendship. And that's the positive way
We're going to die together.
to spin on it. I think that's a lucky thing.
So go out there and have threesomes. Is that
Yeah,
right?
guys.
Go out there.
And Find yourself another man.
Sleep with other people's husbands. Have threesomes. Is that the message you're trying to send out
That's
there?
the message we're trying to send to the American youth.
This is supposed to be a cautionary tale, right? We're not endorsing this. We're not promoting this at all. It's a cautionary tale.
Right.
It all depends on who's taking caution and who's taking precaution. Anyway. All right, guys, listen, it's the Ace Micheals Show. Thank you guys so much for being on my show today. If you were listening, I'm sure you probably drove into a ditch, but if you did not, thank you again for listening. Share, like, and subscribe. And you know what I say at the end of every show? Live the life you love. Love the life you live. Thank you.